Hello everyone, and welcome to Saint Miracle, the channel where we explore the wondrous stories, hidden histories, and miraculous events that continue to captivate believers and seekers alike. Today, we're embarking on a spellbinding journey into the life and legacy of Saint Philomena, one of the most remarkable yet, in many ways, mysterious saints in Christian history. Now, let's set the stage. Imagine a young woman who, despite living centuries ago, continues to make her presence known through miraculous healings, sudden deliverances, and even cryptic physical phenomena. A saint whose very name was rediscovered in ancient catacombs and has since inspired countless devotions and pilgrimages. Sounds incredible, right? That's precisely what makes Saint Philomena's story so enthralling. Let's dive in. The year was 1802, and in the Priscilla Catacombs of Rome, archaeologists stumbled upon a remarkable tomb. The inscribed tiles they discovered were marked with several symbols, an anchor, arrows, and a lily. Alongside these symbols appeared the name Philomena. While it wasn't unusual to find names and symbols on tombs, there was something about this combination that ignited intense curiosity and devotion. At that time, nobody fully knew who Philomena was, no detailed historical records, no official biography. But the discovered symbols hinted at virtues like purity, faith, and martyrdom, sparking immediate speculation that she was someone who had heroically given her life for her Christian beliefs. Yet what came next would surpass the boundaries of a simple archaeological find. Saint Philomena quickly became associated with some of the most dramatic miracles Europe had seen in centuries. But how did a previously unknown young saint capture the hearts and minds of so many? Let's keep digging. One of the most frequently cited legends surrounding Philomena suggests that she was a Greek princess who lived during the reign of the Roman Emperor Diocletian. The story goes that Diocletian, impressed by her beauty, asked Philomena to marry him. She refused, declaring that her heart belonged to Christ alone. In an era when declining an emperor's proposal was practically unheard of and extremely dangerous, Philomena's courage stands out. By choosing her faith over earthly power and riches, she set a precedent of unwavering devotion. For many, that act of defiance formed the foundation of her reputation as a powerful intercessor in heaven. Pause and consider this for a moment. A teenage girl, offered wealth and prestige beyond imagination, calmly says no to the most powerful man of her time, all to remain loyal to her faith. The drama practically writes itself. Philomena's relics were eventually moved to Mugnano del Cardinale in Italy, a small town that would soon become the center of astounding miracles. Stories circulated of the gravely ill finding instant healing, families in dire financial straits receiving unexpected help, and lost travelers miraculously guided home. Before long, word spread to nearby regions. If you or a loved one are suffering, pray for Saint Philomena's intercession. From fevers that vanished overnight to terminal illnesses that suddenly turned benign. The news of these wonders traveled far and wide, attracting believers, skeptics, and the merely curious. So, what kind of miraculous events are we talking about here? Let's start with one of the most dramatic, a woman facing amputation and a last-minute overnight cure. One of the earliest and most publicized miracles involved a woman in Naples who was suffering from a cancerous ulcer on her hand. Her doctors concluded that amputation was the only way to save her life. Yet, on the night before the surgery, a relative placed a relic of Saint Philomena over the wound and prayed fervently. By the next morning, the infected area had miraculously healed, astonishing surgeons who had fully prepared to amputate. It didn't stop there. The woodcutter lost in the forest. A frightened woodcutter who had strayed into an unfamiliar and treacherous forest prayed to Philomena for help. Suddenly, he encountered a little girl who guided him out of the woods. After leading him to safety, she vanished. Local tradition claims this child was Saint Philomena, manifesting her presence in a form that he could perceive. The child surviving a 60-foot fall. Another famous account tells of a mother who cried out to Philomena in desperation when her daughter fell from a great height, some sources say nearly 60 feet. In a scenario where any survival would be considered a medical miracle, the child emerged without a single broken bone or serious injury. What are we to make of these events? Simple coincidences? mass hysteria, or signs of a power that transcends the logical? While the explanations vary, the devotion to Philomena kept growing, fueled by heartfelt gratitude from those who believed they'd received her aid. Remarkably, Philomena's miraculous interventions aren't limited to healing. There are also stories describing her as an agent of divine justice, often meting out quick retribution against those who mocked her name or exploited the vulnerable. One such anecdote involves two noblemen who schemed to dispossess a poor village of its land. They mocked the villagers' devotion to Saint Philomena, dismissing it as superstition. However, soon after winning their corrupt lawsuit, these noblemen were beset by a string of misfortunes, financial collapse, health issues, and legal troubles, leading many to credit Philomena with righting the wrongs they had committed. Now, does that mean Saint Philomena was vengeful or punitive? Or is it simply a moral lesson that wrongdoing carries its own consequences? The lines blur between faith, folklore, and cautionary tale. And yet, many see these stories as proof that Philomena stands up for the defenseless, giving them hope and reassurance. In the realm of saints and miracles, it's not unusual to hear about statues that weep, bleed, or exude oil. Philomena's story has its own unique take. 1. The sweating statue. During a religious procession, witnesses claimed that an image of Philomena began to emit a fragrant, oil-like substance. This continued for 3 days and was reportedly observed by multiple people who signed affidavits or submitted official statements to the local bishop. 2. The color-shifting face in Naples. A statue of Philomena in Naples allegedly changed color right before witnesses, shifting to a livelier hue. Artists and sculptors investigated to see if it might be paint or environmental factors. None could replicate or explain what had happened. Imagine seeing that firsthand. You're in a crowded church, the statue is in front of you, and suddenly, you notice a transformation that defies every logical explanation. Would it deepen your faith or push you toward skepticism? One of the most compelling chapters in Philomena's miraculous narrative involves Saint John Vianney, also known as the Curé of Ars. Vianney was a renowned French parish priest, famous for his piety and ability to draw massive crowds seeking confession. Despite being a saint in his own right, he frequently credited Saint Philomena for many of the miracles he was reputed to have performed. He affectionately referred to her as his dear little saint. Stories detail how he kept a small shrine to Philomena, frequently directed the sick to pray for her intercession, and even claimed that some of his personal revelations or inspirations came directly through her guidance. This raises a fascinating question. What does it say when one saint defers to another's miraculous power? Clearly, Philomena's spiritual influence was so potent that even a figure like John Vianney felt moved to rely upon her patronage. Sometimes, Philomena's miracles take unexpected twists, extending beyond physical healings. One notable case is Pellegrino Ruaco, a man sentenced to death. His aunt, a devout believer in Philomena, prayed earnestly for his life. She claimed an inner voice instructed her to personally plead with the king, even though the odds were stacked against any type of royal pardon. Meanwhile, in prison, Pellegrino experienced a vivid dream where Philomena assured him of his coming freedom. Despite endless bureaucratic red tape, a telegraphic dispatch arrived just in time, announcing a special pardon specifically for Pellegrino, excluding others who were also on death row that day. It's the sort of storyline that gives you goosebumps. The convergence of dreams, prayers, and last-minute royal decrees almost feels scripted for a movie. But for those who experienced it in real time, it was a life-altering event that further cemented Philomena's reputation as a powerful intercessor. With so many miracles attributed to her name, it's little wonder that Magnano del Cardinale became a major pilgrimage site. People from all walks of life, peasants, nobles, merchants, flocked there to honor Philomena and seek her intercession. Over time, the local community transformed around this devotion. New chapels and altars, grateful beneficiaries of Philomena's intercession, often donated funds to build altars, chapels, or adorn existing churches. A prime example is the marble altar commissioned by a lawyer named Alexander Sirio, who believed Philomena had miraculously healed him. Festivals and celebrations. Annual feast days dedicated to Philomena saw the small town swell with throngs of visitors, turning Magnano into a bustling hub of faith, commerce, and cultural exchange. Through these pilgrimages, people not only prayed for personal requests, but also built friendships, exchanged stories of divine grace, and left with renewed optimism. In that sense, Philomena's miracles did more than just cure illness or remedy crises. They united communities under a common banner of hope. All these extraordinary accounts, miracles of healing, protection, guidance, and even justice, point to some profound questions about faith and human nature. 1. Our need for hope. Whether we live in the 19th century or the 20th century, humans have always gravitated toward stories that highlight the possibility of the impossible. When medical treatments fall short or personal crises seem overwhelming, the promise of a miracle can restore hope. 2. Mystery and belief. We live in a world dominated by science and empirical data, yet there remains a hunger for the unexplained, a desire to believe that beyond our constraints, there could exist something far greater. Philomena's miracles feed that longing. 3. Intercession and communion. The Catholic tradition of seeking a saint's help underscores the idea that faith is communal, not just between us and God, but also among the faithful who have come before us. Philomena's ongoing popularity suggests that many find solace in this concept of a heavenly friend who hears their pleas. Mid-episode invitation. If you're new to our Saint Miracle channel, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more incredible stories of faith and wonder. We'd love to have you as part of this growing community. Naturally, with any phenomenon that strays from the ordinary, a range of reactions arises. Some skeptics argue that certain healing stories could be explained by misdiagnosis or the placebo effect. Others suggest that tales of statues changing color might be results of atmospheric conditions or artistic alterations. But while logical explanations may exist for some cases, others defy easy categorization. Throughout history, inexplicable occurrences have often served as a catalyst for deeper spiritual reflection. Even if every single miracle cannot be scientifically validated, the collective experience of thousands who claim to have witnessed or received Philomena's aid is significant in its own right. Is it more rational to assume that all of these people are either exaggerating or delusional? Or could there be a genuine supernatural dimension breaking through into our everyday reality? The debate isn't new and likely won't be settled anytime soon. However, the stories persist, and for many, that's reason enough to keep believing. It's worth noting that not every ecclesiastical authority has universally embraced Philomena's cultus without question. Over the decades, there have been periodic discussions and debates within the Church about her historical records, the authenticity of certain relics, and how to interpret her miracles. In some instances, the Church has taken a cautious stance, emphasizing the difference between public liturgical devotion and personal, private veneration. Still, none of these debates have diminished her popular appeal. Even if official documentation about her life remains scarce, the overwhelming tide of testimonies from believers has kept Philomena firmly in the hearts of the faithful. Could it be that her very mystery, her lack of detailed historical documentation, makes her story more alluring? Sometimes, the unknown invites a deeper fascination than a neatly packaged biography ever could. Gratitude forms the bedrock of many Catholic devotions, and in Philomena's case, it's particularly striking. Aside from building chapels or altars, numerous individuals also dedicated their time and talents to spread her story. They organized prayer groups, distributed devotional booklets, and even sponsored local charity drives in her name. Spiritual renewal. For many communities, inviting others to learn about Philomena wasn't just about celebrating miracles. It was about inviting people into a deeper spiritual reflection and renewed sense of faith. Social outreach. These gatherings became opportunities for social service, such as charity dinners or donations made in Philomena's honor, reinforcing the idea that miracles are not meant to exist in isolation, but to inspire concrete acts of compassion. We often wonder, if we truly believe we've received a divine favor, how do we show our gratitude? Philomena's devotees offer a clear answer by paying it forward and amplifying the good in our communities. At the heart of Philomena's widespread devotion is an undeniable truth. Stories matter. Human beings are narrative creatures. We connect deeply with accounts of courage, heartbreak, triumph, and wonder. Whether we're hearing about a statue exuding oil or a mother's desperate prayer bringing a child back from the brink, these narratives resonate with us on an emotional level. They tug at our imaginations, sparking questions about life's deeper mysteries. They rally us around shared values like hope, faith, empathy, and, in some cases, justice. They challenge us to remain open to the unexplainable, reminding us that not everything in life is easily defined or measured. Philomena's stories, in particular, weave together historical intrigue, religious devotion, and miraculous phenomena, making them a magnet for anyone longing to see a spark of the divine in our ordinary world. Whether you're encountering St. Philomena's story for the first time or you've been devoted to her for years, one thing becomes crystal clear. There is a timeless appeal in accounts of a saint who demonstrates both tender compassion for those in need and resolute strength in the face of injustice. Her mystery is part of her power, an invitation to open our hearts to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, miracles still happen. Now, as we draw this documentary-style deep dive to a close, let me ask you this. Is there room in your life for a little mystery? Philomena encourages you to approach the challenges and trials you face with renewed faith, or at least a spark of curiosity. And you've been watching Saint Miracle. If you found value in this exploration of Saint Philomena's miracles, her dramatic healings, her unwavering courage, and the awe-inspiring tales of statues that defy explanation, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone who might need a dose of hope today. After all, miracles sometimes occur in the unlikeliest moments, often when we're at our most vulnerable. So keep your hearts open, stay curious, and never stop exploring the mysteries that surround us. Because who knows? The next miracle you hear about might just be your own. Thank you for watching, and see you next time on Saint Miracle.